What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a very important AMC update video to get into, and this may be the most important video you guys ever watch because it has some huge implications for AMC stock. And yes, we're going to be talking about New York Stock Exchange threshold list, what this implies, and give you guys the raw facts, as well as go over what I think this will do for AMC stock, because I think it's an overall very positive thing for the short squeeze that we are going to see in the next coming weeks and in the next coming months. But we got to dive into it on this channel. But before we get into it, I'm not going to ask you guys to like this video. What I will ask you guys to do is say a prayer if you believe in that, send out some good jujus, whatever the case is. We just got news yesterday that we have to go back to court for resentencing for the person that killed my brother in 2016, and he could possibly be facing even less time. So if you guys are into that, then do that for me. I do greatly appreciate it. If you're not, then don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But let's get into the video, guys. AMC was down 2.89% today, and after hours up 0.48%. So not a bad day overall. We're not seeing these huge drops in AMC stock, so that is the thing that I am looking for. You're not seeing 10, 15, 20% drops like you have seen in other stocks. So this is a clear indication that a majority of apes are actually holding their positions, and they are in this for the squeeze, and they are not leaving. They're not getting shooken out of their positions. So that is very important, guys. But we are in this channel, right? I don't know why it's not on here, but we could draw it real quick, just taking literally the tops of these rallies and then putting them together. So you're essentially in this channel, and we are coming to a close, and it's yet to be known if we will break out to the upside or the downside. But I do think even after AMC getting listed on the threshold list for the New York Stock Exchange, that is definitely a positive for AMC stock. Now, I'm going to save you guys the spiel of reading all of this because the wording here is not too important. It's overly complicated, right, for the average everyday investor to understand. But essentially, what the threshold security list is saying is for 5 consecutive trading days, you have at least 10,000 failure to delivers, or 0.5% or of the company's total float being failed to deliver, and unaccounted for shares, right? That is what failure to delivers are, usually from naked short selling, but it can also be done through market maker activities. Now, the reason a stock gets listed on this threshold securities list is when they have an aggregate fail to deliver position for 5 consecutive settlement days at a registered clearing agency, example National Securities Clearing Corporation, NSCC, totaling 10,000 shares or more and equal to at least 0.5% of the issuer's total shares outstanding. So this is an aggregate number. So that means 10,000 shares per day. So that means 50,000 naked short selling shares, right? Or failure to deliver shares, but naked short selling and failure to delivers go pretty much hand in hand. Now, what is important about being on this list? It really comes down to they have 13 days to buy back these failure to deliver shares. So they can't short any additional shares. The only thing they can do is buy back these shares. And why is there a threshold securities list? And it is essentially recognizing, hey, there is a problem with a stock. GameStop was on that list. AMC was on that list. So they're essentially saying there's a problem with the naked shorting or the failure to deliver shares. And before this gets to be a huge problem that nobody wants to deal with, we're going to take care of it and force you guys to buy back these shares. So you're going to see a lot of buying activity that does go on with AMC stock. Now, something else very important to keep in mind as well is Rule 204. And this says, provides an extended period of time to close out certain failures to deliver, specifically if a failure to deliver position results from the sale of a security that a person is deemed to own, and that such person intends to deliver as soon as all restrictions on delivery have been removed. The firm has up to 35 calendar days following the trade date to close out of the failure to deliver position by purchasing securities of like kind and quantity. Such additional time is warranted and does not undermine the goal of reducing failure to delivers, because there are sales of owned securities that cannot be delivered by settlement date due solely to processing delays outside the seller's or broker's dealer's control. So you have up to 35 business or trading days, calendar days, it does say, not trading days, calendar days, to get out of these naked shorting positions. So that is the all-time highest amount of days, right? You can take 35 days to cover out of these naked shorting positions. But in the meantime, once a stock is listed on this list, you won't be able to to sell any other shares short. So we may see a drop in the actual shares shorted per day as far as the Ortex data. I don't think that's going to be the case just because you have such a demand to short AMC stock. And these hedge funds, these institutions are quite frankly stupid for doing this. And we all do know that. But I think overall it's a great thing for AMC stock. Now, that is pretty much saving you guys all the verbiage here and what is essentially going on without having to read paragraph after paragraph of words that really aren't important. That is the general gist of the threshold securities list. But stocks can stay on this list for longer if they do have these naked shorting or failure to deliver share counts that keep coming out every single day. So there's really no telling how long this AMC will be on this list, but you could probably imagine by 13 days we should see a lot of these shares actually being bought back. So the next 2 weeks or so are going to be very important for AMC stock, as well as to acknowledge and keep track of how long AMC does stay on this threshold securities list. Now, like I said, that's just a gist what is going on here, and that is pretty much everything you guys need to know. But it does get kind of important and kind of weird that the NSCC 002, NSCC 004, all these other rules and changes have been coming out the same time or right after AMC stock does get listed on this threshold securities list. So these failure to delivers could be actually insane, and we don't know this information because it has not been published by the SEC. They do this twice a month, for the first half of the month and the second half of the month, but there is a half a month delay. So we do have up until May 27th the failure to deliver numbers. That was at 174,345 failure to delivers. Like I said, May 27th, but we won't get the most important time frame, and that is from obviously June 1st to about June 15th until obviously like the first half of July, and that is really where AMC stock did start to rally. May 27th was a pretty important day as well. We went up to $26.52, but it is after this, right? June 1st and June 2nd were the big days where we went up to $70, $72, $77 at one point. So that is going to be the most important thing to keep in mind, but as well, like I said, how long we actually stay on this New York Stock Exchange threshold list. So that in a nutshell, what is going on here. But I also do want to acknowledge the fact that these brokers, they do know what is going on here behind the scenes, and we are getting close to this mother of all short squeezes. Now let's take a look at the updated margin rules for Shwab and TD Ameritrade, because they did constrict your ability to even buy AMC stock, or especially short sell AMC stock. So for Shwab, AMC 100% margin requirement for long positions, 200% margin requirements for short positions. Long calls, long puts, covered calls, selling naked calls, and selling short put options are all permitted, providing you have sufficient funds for margin requirements. And GameStop 100% margin requirements for longs, 300% margin requirement for short positions. Selling naked calls is prohibited. Now, TD Ameritrade is more generous with a 100% margin requirement for all stocks, but is also prohibiting short selling on GME stock alongside prohibiting custom spreads. Standard spread orders that are allowed are vertical, back, ratio, calendar, diagonal, straddle, strangle, covered stock, collar, butterfly, combo, condor, iron condor, vertical roll, collar with stock, double, diagonal, and double calendar. So you guys probably don't know what a lot of those are. Some of those are pretty complicated. Some of those are pretty straightforward. But that they are saying too, which is important to keep in mind, that TD Ameritrade leaves itself with an open room to change rules on the fly, noting it may put in more place requirements on both AMC and GME that expire on July 2nd. So we actually just seen this. I believe this was yesterday. This article was written June 28th. So you have telltale signs that we are getting close to this squeeze, and now we are seeing pretty much forced recalls of these naked short positions that have been going on. Like I said, we don't know exactly how many shares that will need to be bought back, but we can imagine that number is astronomically large. Even if we go back to the last short squeeze, guys, we've seen what is this, almost 28 million shares that failed to deliver. Now, obviously, a lot of these did get covered after that, so the aggregate number did go down, and that is why you did see that huge spike, or part the reason why you did see that huge spike, but you still remained pretty elevated compared to other stocks and where their failure to delivers usually do sit at. So, like I said, next month's data, or the first half of June, will be more important than what we currently have, so it's hard to tell how many shares that really do need to be bought back, but you're still going to see a lot of buying power. You're still going to see a lot of shorting power that is going into AMC stock. Overall, I think it's a really good thing for AMC, specifically because we have about a 20% short interest now in the stock, and you see from the NSCC's rule changes, you see from brokerages, big brokerages, right? Shwab and TD Ameritrade have been around for a long time and have a lot of capital on hand. This is not a GameStop and Robinhood situation. These are big time brokerages. So when they're updating their margin requirements to hundreds of percents, you see the NSCC putting all these new rule changes in just before AMC stock gets listed on this New York Stock Exchange threshold securities list. I would venture out to say we're getting pretty close to the short squeeze. Now, I don't want to put any dates on this, but I personally think July 16th, that expiration week, will be significant because we see a lot of options that are on that week as well, and we ultimately need a short squeeze as well as a gamma squeeze to go up to these multi-$1,000 price points. So that is going to be all for this video. If you guys like the breakdown and simple analysis I did provide, giving you guys all the information that you need to know with all the bullshit information you don't need to know, hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel. I do greatly appreciate it. And if you want to get up to $70 in your choice of free stock, check out the link down below in the description for public. No deposit necessary, no need to even link a bank account, and you get your stock immediately. They also do not route your order flows to companies like Citadel. The only other brokerages that do not are Fidelity, Merrill Lynch, and then obviously Public. So if you guys are not signed up with that, it is literally free money, as well as check out the link down below for Webull. Deposit $100, get 4 free stocks, each of them potentially worth up to $2,400 a piece. That is also free money. And Webull does give out some pretty awesome stocks, and you can actually turn off a setting in Webull so you make it unavailable for Webull itself to lend your shares out without you knowing, and lend them out to hedge funds or institutions, and nobody wants to deal with that. Also, I do have a link down below for the buy and sell alerts. They literally pay for themselves, and we have been hitting multi-100% winning trades on a pretty much daily basis. So if you guys want to be a part of that for a very inexpensive cost, get the buy and sell alerts in real time. Check that out, link down below in the description. But that is going to be all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.